In Tal Afar, Iraq, 2005, moments after soldiers killed her family, an Iraqi girl stands alone, covered in blood, her wide eyes reflecting the unimaginable horror that has just shattered her childhood forever. Long before scandal and controversy would define their connection, Donald Trump posed with his children Eric and Ivanka alongside Jeffrey Epstein at a Manhattan event in 1993, capturing a moment history would scrutinize. Japanese high school students gather around a mahjong game while using methamphetamine called Hirapon, a stimulant once legally sold before its devastating effects became understood and the drug was ultimately banned nationwide. November 1924, on the Alaskan tundra, an Inuit bow hunter stands proudly beside his hunted prey, demonstrating traditional survival skills passed through generations that sustained his people through the Arctic's unforgiving winter landscape. After the Coffeyville bank robbery shootout in 1892, the bodies of Dalton gang members were displayed publicly as a grim warning, marking the violent end of one of the Old West's most notorious outlaw families. September 1914, in Marseille, a young French boy greets Indian soldiers arriving to support the Allies during the World War I, capturing an unexpected moment of innocence amid the gathering storm of global conflict ahead. In 1989, under Hungary's communist regime, a young Viktor Orban is beaten by police during protests. Years before, he would rise to become the country's prime minister and one of Europe's most controversial leaders. A Harlem hellfighter poses proudly with a rescued puppy during the World War I in 1918, offering a rare glimpse of tenderness and humanity amid the brutal trenches where these brave African-American soldiers fought valiantly. In 1944, a bride writes to her fiancé, thanking him for sending a skull from the battlefield, revealing the disturbing normalization of wartime brutality and how deeply conflict twisted ordinary expressions of love and connection. June 1942 witnessed Australian troops conducting a nighttime landing drill when an accidental explosive detonation disrupted the exercise, reminding soldiers that danger lurked in training just as readily as on the battlefield itself. An aerial view captures the staggering scale of the Normandy landings during the historic D-Day invasion, revealing thousands of vessels converging on French beaches in history's largest amphibious assault that changed the war's trajectory. Chernobyl liquidators clear radioactive debris from the nuclear plant roof in 1986, sacrificing their health and often their lives to prevent greater catastrophe, becoming unsung heroes of humanity's worst nuclear disaster. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire of 1911 claimed 146 victims, mostly young immigrant women, leading to major safety reforms after the tragedy exposed appalling working conditions that had been deliberately ignored for profit. A Vietnamese girl buttons her mother's blouse after assault during the My Lai massacre in 1968, captured in a haunting photograph that reveals the unspeakable horrors inflicted upon innocent civilians during the war. During the devastating Madras famine of 1877 in India, a man protects his family from cannibals as starvation drives desperate survivors to unthinkable acts, illustrating humanity's darkest hour amid colonial mismanagement and neglect. In Sweden, 1917, a search party returns carrying the body of a missing boy from the forest. ending days of desperate searching and bringing closure to a community united in grief and loss. Taken in 1921, this post-war Gallipoli photograph captures soldiers and the scarred landscape where thousands perished, serving as a haunting reminder of the campaign's brutal futility and the lives forever changed by its horror. Un-peacekeeper Mbaye Diagne saved hundreds during the Rwandan genocide through solo rescues, defying orders and risking his life repeatedly until a mortar tragically killed him, ending his extraordinary heroism that demanded remembrance. Wehrmacht soldiers test gallows strength before execution during wartime occupation, revealing the calculated, bureaucratic nature of atrocities committed when ordinary men became instruments of systematic terror and state-sanctioned murder throughout occupied territories. During the conflict in the year 2000, a Palestinian boy throws stones toward an Israeli tank, capturing the asymmetry of power and the desperation of youth trapped in cycles of violence neither created. Pope John Paul II meets and forgives the man who shot him earlier, demonstrating profound compassion and spiritual strength that transcended personal suffering to embrace reconciliation, shocking the world with this extraordinary act of grace. While serving in the U.S. Army in 1958, Elvis Presley receives his polio vaccination publicly, using his immense celebrity influence to encourage millions of young Americans to protect themselves against the crippling disease. At the Democratic Convention in 1948, supporters lift Minneapolis Mayor Hubert Humphrey high above the crowd, celebrating his passionate civil rights speech that would define his legacy and reshape his party's moral direction. Visitors experience the spinning rotor ride at Kennywood Park around 1957, where centrifugal force pins them against the wall as the floor drops away, creating thrills that tested courage and stomachs alike. Children enjoying playground equipment in Chicago during the early 20th century capture simpler times when unsupervised outdoor play shaped childhood. Long before safety concerns and screens would transform how young people spent their days. Tame Horomona Rihe, considered the last of his people, was photographed in 1925, his portrait preserving the memory of a vanished culture and the profound loneliness of being the final living connection to generations. In February 1984, astronaut Bruce McCandless floats untethered during a historic spacewalk, becoming the first human to drift freely in space, suspended between Earth and infinity, with only his jetpack connecting him to survival. An Estonian boy proudly shows the wooden bicycle he personally built in this 1912 photograph, demonstrating the ingenuity and resourcefulness children once developed through necessity, crafting their own toys with available materials and determination. Years after his historic spaceflight in 1965, Yuri Gagarin relaxes casually while fishing, finding peace in ordinary moments, despite the fame that followed becoming the first human to journey beyond Earth's atmosphere. Displayed in a museum, the Sony Discman was once wildly popular among teenagers in the early 2000s, representing portable music freedom before smartphones made dedicated devices obsolete and transformed how we experience sound. A train passing near the Taj Mahal shows the stark contrast between scenes from 1983 and 2026. You're revealing how modernization and pollution have transformed the monument's surroundings, while the marble masterpiece endures through changing times. Auschwitz guards socialize and relax during their wartime period in 1944, captured in disturbing photographs that reveal how ordinary leisure coexisted with systematic murder, showing the banality of evil in its most chilling form. Kate Capshaw, Harrison Ford, and Ke Huy Quan share a moment on set in 1984 during the filming of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, capturing the cast's chemistry that brought adventure to life. In this early 1900 glass photograph, Charging Thunder posed formally with his dog, preserving a moment of dignity from a Lakota warrior whose life journey would take him far from the plains to unexpected places. John Lennon and Yoko Ono wait during their famous 1969 protest, Bedin' for Peace, using their celebrity status and honeymoon to promote nonviolence, creating one of history's most memorable and unconventional political demonstrations. In the early digital era of 1993, President Clinton composes and sends the first presidential email, marking a technological milestone that would transform government communication and eventually connect leaders directly with citizens worldwide through cyberspace. The British magazine Knowledge displays global races and cultures in the early 1960s. Reflecting the era's anthropological fascination and problematic racial categorizations that modern understanding recognizes as scientifically baseless and morally troubling. Titanic lookout Frederick Fleet was photographed in 1912 before his later life turned tragic, haunted by failing to spot the iceberg sooner, eventually taking his own life decades after the disaster continued. Stylish black families photographed in Newark, New Jersey, spanning the 1950s through 1970s, captured the elegance, dignity, and pride of everyday life during an era of both cultural flourishing and persistent racial struggle. One of few surviving D-Day photos captured by Robert Capa in June 1944 shows the chaos and terror of Omaha Beach, with most of his film tragically destroyed during development, leaving only fragments. Father Judge becomes the first official casualty while aiding victims during the 9/11 attacks, captured in an iconic photograph as firefighters carry his body from the rubble, honoring a chaplain who died serving others. A large family portrait from the 1940s shows parents surrounded by 9 daughters and no sons, capturing an era when family size and gender sparked curiosity and assumptions about parental disappointment or persistence. During the siege of 1941, scientists protected Leningrad's seed bank collection despite facing starvation themselves, choosing to preserve humanity's agricultural future rather than consuming the grains and potatoes that surrounded them in their vault. R. Lee Ermey photographed as a real military drill instructor in 1966, years before his acting career immortalized that intensity in Full Metal Jacket, turning authentic experience into cinema's most memorable sergeant. Tsar Nicholas II, with his cousins and heirs, gathered in England during August 1909, capturing royal family bonds that would soon be shattered by World War I and revolution, forever changing European monarchies and history. The interior dashboard design of the 1985 Nissan 300ZX was widely admired for its unique digital style, featuring futuristic displays and ergonomic layout that made drivers feel like pilots commanding advanced technology rather than ordinary vehicles. The mugshot of young Kurt Cobain later became an iconic piece of music history, transforming a routine arrest photo into a symbol of grunge rebellion that defined a generation's angst and disillusionment. In France, 1944, a woman collaborator and her baby return home after enduring public punishment for relationships with German soldiers, facing community rage that often ignored the complex circumstances of wartime survival and coercion. Asbestos was used as artificial snow during the filming of The Wizard of Oz in 1939, covering actors in toxic fibers now known to cause cancer, revealing how Hollywood's magic came with hidden dangers. Arnold Schwarzenegger, pictured with his brother Meinhard in 1967, years before a tragic drunk driving accident would claim Meinhard's life and forever alter their family's story, leaving Arnold to carry memories and regrets. A cat named Brunhilde, dressed in a tiny helmet and armor for this 1936 photo, capturing the era's quirky sense of humor and the timeless human impulse to playfully dress up pets for amusement. A street scene in Tambov shows everyday life unfolding in the Soviet Union during the 1950s, capturing ordinary citizens navigating the post-Stalin era with its mixture of recovery, repression, and cautious hope. Stafford and Slayton toast with labeled Soviet space food during the 1975 Apollo-Soyuz mission, symbolizing Cold War détente as American and Russian astronauts shared meals and friendship in orbit above their divided Earth. Yuri Gagarin visits Finland shortly after his historic 1961 spaceflight, receiving a hero's welcome as crowds gathered to glimpse the cosmonaut who had ventured where no human had gone, bridging Earth and cosmos. A painting depicts the symbolic Apollo-Soyuz mission cooperation between the USA and USSR in 1974, capturing the unprecedented handshake in space that offered hope for peaceful collaboration despite ongoing tensions below. People walk along a busy street in Omsk, Soviet Union, in 1973. Their daily routines continuing beneath propaganda and authority, revealing ordinary life persisting within a system that demanded conformity, while individuals quietly pursued personal dreams. A woman and her poodle both get their hair permed using a complex machine in 1920, illustrating the era's elaborate beauty rituals and the amusing devotion pet owners showed in matching their beloved companions. Gemini said outside his modest rented home in West Virginia, 1946, a coal miner repairs his children's wagon, demonstrating the resourcefulness and dedication of working families who maintain dignity despite poverty and grueling labor conditions. A little girl plays banjo while her dog dances happily nearby in the 1950s, capturing innocent joy and the simple entertainment families created together before television-dominated living rooms and screens replaced shared creativity. Students pose outside the one-room Oakdale School building in Tennessee, 1933, where children of all ages learn together under one teacher's guidance, representing rural education that built communities despite limited resources and challenging conditions. Tourists stand inside the crown area of the Statue of Liberty during the 1980s, accessing spaces now closed after September 11th, changed security protocols, marking an era when monuments felt more accessible and less vulnerable. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Hanks, and Tom Cruise appeared together in Vanity Fair in 1994, capturing three of Hollywood's biggest stars at their peak power, representing different genres yet sharing the decade's box office dominance. Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic, attend Kurt Cobain's funeral in Seattle, 1994, mourning their bandmate and friend whose suicide shocked the music world and left Nirvana's surviving members to grieve both privately and publicly. Princess Diana shakes hands with an AIDS patient without gloves in 1991, breaking stigma through simple human touch when fear and ignorance still surrounded the disease, using her platform to promote compassion over prejudice. In 1977, George Willig climbs the World Trade Center tower's exterior as crowds watch from below, later getting arrested at the top after his daring ascent captured the city's imagination and the era's appetite for bold stunts. A policeman warns a man for not wearing a mask during the influenza pandemic of 1918, showing how public health measures sparked resistance even then as society struggled to balance individual freedom with collective safety. Marlon Brando rejects his Oscar in 1973, allowing activist Sachin Littlefeather to protest Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans, using his platform to amplify marginalized voices in a moment that remains controversial and celebrated both. Jackie Chan attends a benefit concert supporting Tiananmen Square protesters in Hong Kong, 1989. Chan on standing with democracy advocates during a pivotal moment before his later positions would complicate his legacy and draw criticism from activists. A college graduate's portrait from 1880 looks surprisingly modern in style, with composition and expression transcending Victorian conventions, reminding us that individual personality and timeless aesthetics have always managed to break through era constraints. Rising from the ocean near Melanera Beach, Gran Canaria, the statue of Neptune was placed in 2001, creating an unexpected underwater encounter for divers exploring the Atlantic and becoming a beloved landmark beneath the waves. Princeton students posed together after a playful snowball fight during winter 1893, their formal attire contrasting with the casual mischief, revealing how even elite education couldn't suppress youthful spontaneity and the universal joy of snow. Felicette the cat becomes the first feline sent into space in 1963, returning safely after her rocket flight contributed to scientific research, though her achievement received far less recognition than the dogs who preceded her. A man casually smokes while standing atop the Great Pyramid of Giza in 1981, back when tourists could still climb the ancient structure before preservation concerns and safety regulations ended the practice forever, protecting the monument. An ancient Roman tomb dedicated to a beloved dog features a touching inscription about loyalty and companionship, proving that the bond between humans and their canine friends has transcended millennia, remaining unchanged despite civilization's transformations. A map marks locations where Imperial Japanese Navy ships were sunk during World War II, charting the Pacific Theater's brutal naval campaign that sent thousands of vessels and countless sailors to the ocean floor forever. In France, 1907, Paul Cornu pilots one of the earliest experimental flying helicopters, achieving brief vertical flight that proved rotary wing aviation possible, paving the way for machines that would revolutionize rescue, warfare, and transportation. An Inuk wears traditional snow goggles carved from bone and ivory in the Arctic region, with narrow slits reducing glare from endless ice, a demonstrating ingenious adaptation that protected vision long before modern eyewear existed. A Vietnam helicopter door gunner rests after completing an intense mission in 1965. Exhaustion visible on his face, capturing the relentless strain of young men thrust into combat far from home with little preparation or understanding. A Finnish family enjoys a handmade four-person swing outside their home in 1954, with everyone suspended together, illustrating the creativity and togetherness that defined an era when families built their own entertainment with available materials. United Airlines operated men-only flights from 1953 to 1970, offering cigars, cocktails, and steak dinners in an environment explicitly excluding women, are reflecting corporate gender discrimination that seems astonishing from today's perspective, but was standard business practice. A woman drives a compact Brogan Doodlebug vehicle powered by a small engine in 1944, representing wartime innovation when fuel rationing and material shortages inspired creative transportation solutions that prioritized efficiency over size or comfort. Timber trucks line up in North Bend, Washington's logging area in 1943, carrying enormous old-growth trees that would never be replaced, documenting an industry that transformed the Pacific Northwest's ancient forests into lumber for war. A father proudly purchases a pedal car toy for his young son in 1955, capturing post-war prosperity when families could afford such luxuries. High-end children's toys mimicked adult life in miniature, fostering imagination and aspiration. During World War II, a Lockheed plant was disguised as a rural area with painted canvas and fake houses to avoid enemy bombing, creating an elaborate illusion from above that protected vital aircraft production through theatrical deception. The Los Angeles Public Library Bookmobile delivers books to sick residents in 1928, bringing literature and learning to those confined at home, demonstrating libraries' commitment to serving everyone regardless of circumstance or mobility limitations. A pilot attempts to restart a stalled propeller engine mid-operation during the 1960s, revealing the hands-on, dangerous maintenance that early aviation required, when mechanical failures meant personally risking life to restore function while airborne. An early futuristic concept illustration from 1930 imagines advanced transportation and lifestyle with optimistic predictions about technology's potential, capturing an era's boundless faith in progress before world wars tempered such utopian visions with harsh reality. An early portable tape recorder device from 1932 represents technological progress when recording sound required, carrying substantial equipment, marking the beginning of audio capture becoming accessible beyond professional studios and wealthy institutions for ordinary documentation. A sign promotes malaria vaccination awareness in a Papua New Guinea community during the 1940s. Part of public health campaigns fighting diseases that devastated tropical populations before modern medicine brought prevention and treatment to remote regions. Guests arrive at the premiere of the film Sabrina in New York, 1954, dressed in elegant evening wear to witness Audrey Hepburn's performance, capturing Hollywood glamour when movie openings were major social events demanding formal attire. Early graffiti appears across New York City walls in 1973, marking a cultural shift as young artists claimed public space for self-expression, creating an underground movement that would eventually influence mainstream art and design worldwide. Immigrants cheer, seeing the Statue of Liberty from their ship approaching America in 1910. Tears streaming as they glimpse the symbol promising freedom and opportunity after arduous journeys, carrying hopes for better lives in the new world. A behind-the-scenes moment captures the filming of Star Wars before modern green screen technology existed, showing practical sets and physical models that created movie magic through craftsmanship rather than digital manipulation, requiring immense creativity. Vietnam War Marine veterans recreate their old photograph after 50 years apart, standing in the same formation, but with aged faces replacing youthful ones, bridging decades with brotherhood that survived time, trauma, and distance between them. Robert Redford dressed elegantly in his role for The Great Gatsby film in 1974, embodying F. Scott Fitzgerald's wealthy Jay Gatsby, with the charm and mystery that define both the character and the actor's peak stardom.